Okay, from our little program, we'll just look at some of these links here and see where they take us. All right, basically to the BIM curriculum, and this one is in exercise 1 to 4, structural BIM. Now, it's the first time we've been here really on this site, so I'll just take a minute to show you around. Basically, this talks a little bit about the BIM curriculum, but there's the architecture tab, which really there isn't much about architecture. But this is the construction tab, is the one that has stuff about architecture, how to draw an architectural tab of the Revit. And we're going to spend a bit of time here later on learning a little bit about architecture. So it's a little bit, a little bit weird the way it works. You sort of got to hunt around a bit to find information on it. But I have got the links required directly, so that easiest way is to go through the program. And as you get through it, you'll get more familiar as to how it works. The construction one works differently to the structural. Structural is this one here. We're going to visit this a little bit as well. It's a little, in a way, it's a little better. It's got, you can see here we've got unit 1, 2, 3. It makes a little more sense. And by the way, the architecture one calls them lessons. This calls it units, so it's all a bit different. Anyway, so we're going to do most of these units eventually. All right, so I'll just like if I go into here, unit 1, for example, that expands out to an introduction, and then there's exercises, and usually there's a video. And if I go here, well, that's about the Autodesk 360. So there's lessons about it, so you can read and all that sort of stuff. User interface, for example. Then go into exercises, and then there might be a video, perhaps. Also, you can download the files somewhere along here. This is the wrong one, but we'll find it in a minute. Okay, so let's go back to here and have a look at this one here for a minute. Let's see what that takes us. It's a user interface. It won't let us do that. This one won't let me do it. Okay, that wasn't a link, that's why. Let's go to this one here. All right. BIM curriculum. It's the same one as I went to before. So, exercise 1, user interface. Same one. Maybe we have to go over here. All right. What's this one here? It's just a bit of reading. Okay, that's not unit 1, lesson 1. No, that was. Hang on a minute. To think I've practiced this before, eh? All right, where is it all gone? Oh, goodness me. Let's go to structural. It was unit 2 actually. Unit 2 overview. All right. Okay, user interface, lesson 1. Here we go. Okay. So.
It's okay to keep it anyway, future then.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't seem to work. It worked yesterday when I did it, but not today. All right. So this talks a bit about that, but there is a video which I wanted to show you, so this talks a little bit about the interface, which I'm going to go through separately for you, but it's mainly relating to this structural user interface. Okay, where's it gone? I'll just pause this thing for a minute so I can find it. Okay, we finally found where this is. So it's under structural. We'll go to unit 2 overview. Then we go to unit 2 exercises. It's quite simple really. Then you go to exercise 1, user interface. That's where you get the video. I'll play that. It's a very quick overview.
Welcome back. In this video, we're going to introduce the user interface of Revit. There are a lot of tools that come into the user interface. The very first place to start would be to look at the View ribbon, User Interface Dialog. In this, you'll see view cubes, navigation bars, and particular options that you can turn on or off. Your most important two will be your project browser and your properties. When you begin Revit, it's a good idea to go to the View ribbon, User Interface, and make sure that these are turned on. cases. I've stacked them side by side so we can talk about these. The project browser will allow you to see all the information in your model. It will show the setups of your plans, for floor plans, 3D views, if you need to look at those, as well as more advanced features such as legends, schedules, and sheets, which we'll cover later in this tutorial series. Following that, when you pick an object in Revit, whether it be a physical object in the model, it will have properties to it, and the property browser will allow you to adjust those. Additionally, in Revit, items such as the title block on a sheet is also an object, and it would have properties. Later lessons in this series will show you how to modify these and how these are used. But let's begin at the start of Revit and look at the ribbons. If I go up to a particular sheet using the project browser to look at it, would have the structural ribbon. It would allow me to do structural modeling of beams, walls, footings, columns, braces, various systems. It would also have foundation modeling, reinforcing, as well as other modeling modification tools. In the architectural ribbon, you would see walls, doors, windows, floors, curtain wall systems, and stairs. Other architectural related items. The Insert tab can be thought of as when you're trying to get one model to interact with another. This would include linking in CAD files, other Revit models. Annotation would be the textual comments you add to a sheet that would expand the model information. These are basically dimensions, text, and line work that you would add on a page. These will be covered later in the documentation session. In analysis, you see tools in the ribbon for performing structural analysis on the model. Mass and site would be for preliminary site layout information. From the topo surfaces, you can bring in information from civil engineers and products such as AutoCAD, Civil 3D, that would bring in soft surface contours that can be coordinated with your structure. Architects may use parking lot components as well. The collaboration tab would go through information such as setting up work sets, copy monitoring, and other tools that will be shown later in some of the units in this session. The View tab is where you will create additional views in Revit and also change the settings for the views that are already created. You can create new 3D views, you can create sections, and other information for different views of the model would be in this tab. The Manage tab would control settings for the database of the project, such as units and other information. The Add-ins tab will include links to applications that are added that work in conjunction with Revit. The most notable would be the external link with exporting to Navisworks and the Navisworks switchback. These will be addressed also in later units. The Modify will allow you to have tools to take certain structural components and modify them. The most important area beyond these that we haven't talked about yet would be the view property settings at the bottom, which would include scale, the definition of fine detail lines, and different visibility settings. And the view cube. The view cube would allow us to move the model around and look at different perspectives to the view. But also, if we pick a particular object, it would allow us to zoom into that object. In summary, most objects you want to model in Revit, you will find grouped within the various ribbons. And to see the amount of sheets, levels, and views that are set up in the project browser will provide you a convenient, quick way to access them. And to assess the information that's in a particular object, you'd have the property browser. And to navigate the model, you would most often use the view cube as well as zooming in and out, which is simply done with the mouse wheel. And this concludes this video.